My name's Tyler. I'm 26 and I fix laptops for a living. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. I rent a small apartment with my roommate Kyle about 20 minutes from where I work, just outside the city. Nothing fancy. I've been working at this tech repair kiosk for the past 3 years. You know the kind they stick us near the food court of a busy business center, hoping people will drop off their dead MacBooks between sushi rolls and budget coffee. Most days are a blur of broken screens, slow-loading software, and clients who swear they didn't drop it even when the corner looks like it got hit by a truck. But there's something about routines. You start noticing people. That's how I noticed her. She always sat at the same table just to the left of the burrito stand. Mid-30s, maybe early 40s, though she didn't look it. Always dressed sharp, like real sharp. Blazer heels, a sleek laptop bag that probably cost more than my monthly rent. She had this presence, like she belonged in a courtroom or at the top floor of a skyscraper. I never heard her name, just her voice when she was on the phone, always about cases, contracts, legal stuff I had no clue about. But her tone calm, controlled, like nothing rattled her. She was way out of my league, obviously. Anyway, I saw her almost every day. We'd make eye contact sometimes just for a second. I'd nod. She never smiled, not in a rude way, just neutral, businesslike. Last Thursday, I was sitting alone, eating my sad little $6 burger, when she sat down at the table next to mine. She had a salad and one of those overpriced coffees from the corner cafe. I caught myself looking. I didn't mean to stare, but she had this aura you can't ignore. She glanced over, not for long, just enough to register that I existed. And before I knew what I was doing, I laughed under my breath and said, "Bet you'd never go out with a guy like me." I swear to God, I didn't mean to say it out loud. She turned her head slowly, like she wasn't sure if she heard me right. I was already mentally preparing to apologize, maybe laugh it off like it was a dumb joke. But she didn't look annoyed. She didn't roll her eyes or call security. She smiled, a real smile, not forced, not awkward, just a calm, confident grin. And then she said, "Try me." Just like that. 2 words, "try me." I was frozen. I felt like someone had slapped me in the brain. I didn't know whether to laugh or hide under the table. Who is this woman? She didn't wait for me to respond. She took another bite of her salad, checked something on her phone, and kept eating like nothing happened. I just sat there, burger halfway to my mouth, completely speechless. After a few minutes, she stood up, grabbed her bag, and walked past my table. As she passed, she looked at me again and said, "See you tomorrow." I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My mouth was open, but no words came out. I sat there for another 15 minutes, replaying the whole thing in my head. Did that just happen? Was it a joke? Was she being sarcastic? No, she wasn't smiling like someone mocking you. She smiled like someone who knew exactly what she was doing. I went back to work that day, completely distracted. Every phone I fixed, every battery I swapped, I was just thinking about that one moment. She said, "Try me." What the hell was I supposed to do with that? The next day, I got to the food court 20 minutes earlier than usual. I wasn't even hungry. I just needed to see if she'd show up. I tried to play it cool, acting like I was scrolling through emails on my phone, but honestly, I was just watching the entrance out of the corner of my eye. My heart jumped every time someone in heels walked by. She walked in same confidence, same stride, same black blazer this time, with dark jeans and a cream-colored at our top. She looked like she just stepped out of a catalog that said, "Here's how to win every room you walk into." She scanned the food court like usual, and when her eyes landed on me, she didn't hesitate. She walked right up and said, "You're early." I managed to smile. "Had a slow morning. You eat yet?" "Nope." She looked around. "Come on, you owe me a coffee." I blinked. "Wait, are we actually doing this?" She raised an eyebrow. "You said I'd never go out with a guy like you." I said, "Try me." So try. We walked to the cafe near the escalator. I held the door open for her, and she gave me a look like, "Don't get ahead of yourself." I laughed quietly. We ordered. She got a flat white, I got a black coffee. I offered to pay, but she waved me off. "You're already nervous. No need to add debt." I smirked. "I'm not nervous." She gave me a sideways glance. "You're absolutely nervous." We sat by the window, and for a moment it felt awkward. Like, what are we even doing? She's a woman who probably signs contracts with people wearing suits worth my entire bank account. I fix cracked screens and replace dusty fans and overheated gaming rigs. So I said, just to clarify, this isn't some kind of elaborate prank, right? She tilted her head. Do I look like someone who plays games? I looked at her, really looked. No, I said you don't. She nodded. Good. There was a pause, but not the bad kind, more like a reset. And then she asked, what's your story, Tyler? I was surprised she remembered my name. I never told her. Oh, nothing special. I've been doing tech repair for a few years. Tried college, dropped out. Rent a place with my buddy Kyle, fix computers. Watch basketball, sleep. That's about it. You like what you do. I thought about it. Some days, some days it feels like I'm just keeping other people's stuff alive while mine's falling apart. She smiled slightly. That's honest. I like that. She took a sip of her coffee and leaned back in her chair. Most guys would have tried to impress me by now. That would have failed spectacularly. I said I don't have much in the impressive department. She looked at me directly. Who told you that? I shrugged. Life, girls who walked away before giving me a shot, parents who thought I'd be more, myself. She didn't react right away, just nodded slowly and said, I know that feeling. It threw me off. You do, sure, she said. People think I have it all figured out because I dress well and talk confidently. But truth is, I eat lunch alone most days and go home to an empty apartment with a bottle of wine I don't finish. I didn't expect that. I looked down at my cup. Well, you're not eating alone today. No, she said softly, I'm not. We kept talking for 2 hours about nothing and everything. Her name was Emily, her civil litigation divorced for almost 4 years. She loved Korean dramas, hated social media, and used to play piano before law school crushed her soul. I told her about my love for old video games, how I tried stand-up comedy once and bombed, and how I sometimes fix things for free if the client looked too stressed to afford it. At one point, she laughed so hard she nearly snorted. That broke the ice for good. When we finally stood to leave, I felt like I had just lived a full day in 2 hours. She looked at her watch and sighed. I should get back. Yeah, me too, I said. Laptops aren't going to fix themselves. She smiled. Do you always talk like that? Like what? Like you're joking to protect yourself. I hesitated. Only when I'm nervous. She didn't say anything, just walked a few steps ahead of me, then turned around. Hey, yeah, I had a good time. You're not what I expected in a good way. And then she left. I stood there for a second, heart pounding again, and checked my phone. One new message. Emily, just so you know, I wasn't joking either. Coffee was nice. Let's do it again sometime. I smiled like a damn fool for the rest of the day. I didn't text her back that night, not because I didn't want to. I just froze. I read her message maybe a dozen times. Just so you know, I wasn't joking either. Coffee was nice. Let's do it again sometime. It felt real, too real, and that scared the hell out of me. By morning, I convinced myself she probably didn't mean it like that. Maybe she was just being polite. Maybe she felt sorry for me. Maybe it was a kindness she'd regret if I actually said yes, so I didn't say anything. The next day at work, I kept checking the food court from behind the glass of my service desk. Noon 12 at 12:40. No sign of her. I told myself it didn't matter, but it did. She didn't show the day after either or the next. By the fourth day, I felt like an idiot. Kyle, my roommate, noticed something was off. Dude, you're quiet. That's not normal. You get dumped and forget to tell me. I shook my head. No one to get dumped by. Liar, I see that look. That's I messed up something good energy. He wasn't wrong. That Saturday, I got a text around noon. Emily, so either you're really busy or I killed the vibe with my scary lawyer energy. Which is it? I sat staring at the screen for a full minute. Then I typed, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disappear. I just figured, I don't know, maybe you were kidding. The dots appeared right away. She was typing. Then nothing, then more dots. Then a new message, Emily. I don't say things I don't mean. Meet me at your booth in 15. I looked up, heart pounding. 15 minutes. I didn't even try to look busy. Just cleaned the counter, wiped the screen of an old Dell. Someone left behind and waited. She walked up, her hair pulled back in a loose bun, no blazer today, just a soft gray sweater and jeans. She looked casual, comfortable. Not a single part of her said power attorney. She looked like someone I could sit on the floor with and talk for hours. She held up a laptop bag. I brought a decoy so people think I came here for tech. I smiled. Smart. You okay? She asked. I nodded, unsure what else to say. Emily looked around, then leaned against the counter. You know, ghosting a lawyer is a risky move. I rubbed the back of my neck. I wasn't trying to ghost you. So what were you doing? I looked down. I don't know, pulling away, I guess. Why? I let out a breath. Because it felt too good to be real. You, me. I fix laptops and sleep on a secondhand mattress. She stared at me for a moment and then said, I knew what you did when I sat down for coffee. That wasn't a surprise. You know what would have been surprising? What if you tried to act like someone you're not? I stayed quiet. She tilted her head. Are you pulling away because you think I'll leave first? Her question hit me in the gut. Yeah, I admitted pretty much. Emily didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then she reached into her laptop bag, pulled out a small MacBook, and placed it on the counter. It's actually dead, by the way. Charging port's acting weird. I raised an eyebrow. You seriously brought me work, she smiled. Thought it might be the only way to get you to talk to me. I laughed, but it wasn't awkward. It felt safe. I'm not playing games, Tyler, she said softly. But if you are, just say so. I don't chase people who like being chased. I'm not playing, I said quickly. I'm just not used to this. To what? Being seen like this. She nodded slowly and she leaned over the counter just a little. Then let me show you. I blinked. What does that mean? It means I'm free. Saturday 2 p.m. walk in the park, zero pressure. You can bring a sandwich and awkward eye contact. I'll bring sarcasm and backup coffee. Deal. I was stunned for a second, then I smiled. Deal. She gave me a look, half challenge, half warmth. Don't bail this time. Au revoir, Merv. I won't. She started to walk off, then turned. Oh, and Tyler. Yeah, I really did have a great time. Stop overthinking that. And she was gone. I stood there with her laptop in my hands trying to remember how to breathe. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't untouchable. She was just a woman who decided I was worth a second chance, and I wasn't going to screw it up this time. Saturday came faster than I expected. I kept checking the weather like a light drizzle would somehow give me an excuse to cancel, even though I knew I wouldn't. I spent half the morning standing in front of my closet trying to decide if a hoodie said low effort or authentic. I ended up going with a plain gray sweater and clean jeans, simple, safe. Emily texted, I'm already here. South entrance. I'm the one not trying too hard. I smiled, locked up the apartment, and walked to the park. She was waiting near the fountain, light jacket, sneakers, hair down. She looked even more effortless than usual, and somehow even more intimidating for it. When she saw me, she smiled, and for the first time, it didn't feel like she was analyzing me. It felt comfortable. You made it, she said. I said I would, I replied. Good, she said. I brought backup caffeine. She held up 2 coffees in a cardboard holder. Black right, you remembered. Of course. We started walking along the main path. It was busy, families, couples, joggers. But the noise faded quickly once we got into a rhythm. For a while, we just walked, talked about random stuff, the pigeons that fought over bread, a guy playing trumpet badly under a tree, the kind of small things that somehow made it easier to breathe. Eventually, we found a bench near a quiet area, half shaded, half sunny. She sat first. I followed. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said better than I thought I'd be. She glanced over. You get anxious with people. I nodded. Not always, just with people who actually matter. She didn't smile at that. Instead, she looked out at the trees. That's not just a you thing. For a moment, there was a shift in the air, like something heavier was coming. I don't usually date people from work buildings, she said. I laughed. Yeah, I don't usually date lawyers who can probably out-argue my entire existence. She looked at me. My ex-husband was a lawyer too. There it was. I didn't push, just waited. She took a slow breath. We met in law school, built a life, careers, moved into a nice place downtown, had the car, the watch, the dinner parties, and then he cheated. I looked at her. 3 years into the marriage, she said, with a junior associate, 23, said I didn't look at him the way I used to, like it was my fault. I didn't know what to say, so I said the truth. I'm sorry. She nodded. I've been divorced for almost 4 years now. I dated a little. Nothing stuck. I guess I stopped looking. She turned toward me. And then I saw you sitting there, same hoodie, every Tuesday eating fries like it was a religion. I laughed. It is a religion. I thought you were cute in a real way, like no performance. You just existed. And you were kind, even from across the room. I was quiet. And when you made that dumb joke about me never going out with someone like you, it made me want to prove you wrong. My heart was somewhere in my throat. So no, she said, this isn't just for fun. I don't do casual well. But I also don't need fancy. I need real. I swallowed. I don't have a lot to give. She tilted her head. Do you think I want things? I think you're used to them. Sure, she said, but you listen more in one coffee date than my ex did in 5 years. We sat in silence for a bit, not an awkward silence, just stillness. Then she said, you don't have to fix me. I'm not trying to. Good. Another pause. Then I asked, do you believe people can actually start over? She looked at me. Not from zero, but you can start from where you are if the other person meets you there. I nodded slowly. That sounds fair. We walked more after that, stopped for ice cream, even though it was too cold for it, sat by the duck pond, laughed at a toddler who tried to chase a goose. By the time we headed back toward the street, the sun was starting to dip. She turned to me. Come over. I blinked. What? Nothing crazy, she said quickly. Just wine and leftovers. I don't want the day to end yet. I hesitated. You sure? I wouldn't ask if I wasn't. We went to her place, small, quiet apartment, clean, but lived in, warm light, books on the table, a sleepy cat that barely opened one eye to acknowledge me. She poured us glasses of wine and heated up Thai food. We ate on the couch, talked, laughed. She told me about the one time she tried karaoke. I told her about the time I spilled ramen on a client's keyboard. Somewhere between stories, she paused and looked at me serious this time. I like this, she said, us. Me too. Then we sat there close, not touching, just quiet. She didn't try to kiss me. I didn't try either. It wasn't about that. It was just safe, the kind of safe that makes you realize how rare that feeling is. And I remember thinking, I don't know where this is going, but I know I want to find out. 3 months passed. We didn't rush anything. No grand declarations, no whirlwind romance, just quiet mornings, steady conversations, and a lot of real moments. Some messy, some surprisingly perfect in their own way. Emily and I started seeing each other regularly. Once a week turned into twice, then we started spending weekends together. She'd bring takeout to my place unbothered by the peeling paint or the leaky faucet. I'd stop by her apartment after work with cheap wine and stories about crazy clients who spill coffee into their keyboards. It felt natural, effortless. Kyle caught on quick. You're smiling more, he said one morning while pouring cereal. That lawyer got you feeling soft. I didn't even deny it. She makes things feel simple. Good, he said. You needed that. And I did. Emily never tried to change me, never made me feel small. When she introduced me to her friends at a small backyard barbecue, she didn't downplay who I was. She literally said, this is Tyler. He's better at people than he thinks. Some of her friends were skeptical. One asked quietly if we were serious. Emily overheard and answered from off to me. He's the first person I've met in years who doesn't need to be anyone else. I wanted to kiss her right then and there, but I waited until we got in the car. That night on the drive back, I said, so we're doing this? Like actually doing this? She looked over at me and nodded. I think we are. We didn't label it, didn't need to. We were just together. One morning I stopped by her office. She had a full day of meetings and I knew she'd forget to eat, so I brought her a sandwich and coffee, same kind we had the day we first talked. I walked into the building and rode the elevator to the 7th floor. The receptionist recognized me now. "Hey, Tyler," she smiled. "Morning." I nodded. Emily was standing near the window in a conference room talking with someone in a dark suit. When she saw me, she paused, excused herself, and stepped out. "You're early," she said, surprised. "You're always hungry around 11 hours," I said, handing her the coffee. She smiled and leaned in, kissed me on the cheek. "You're learning." "I pay attention." She looked at the cup, black, no sugar. "See?" She laughed softly, and I handed her the sandwich. "Eat." "Yes, sir." I turned to leave, but before I stepped onto the elevator, she called after me. "Dinner tonight?" "Always," I said. That evening, we met at our usual spot, the food court. I know, not romantic, but it had become our place. It's where it all started. She sat down first with a tray of fries. I brought burgers. We ate like we always did, sharing stories, teasing each other, just being in it. At one point, I leaned back and said, "Still think I'm not your type?" She looked at me, head tilted. "Who said that?" "You did." She narrowed her eyes. "No, you said that." "Oh yeah," I chuckled. "That's right, I did." We sat quietly for a moment, just taking in the usual buzz of the place. Then I said it almost without thinking. "I joked once that you'd never go out with a guy like me." She looked at me, lips curled into a soft smile. "You did. And you said try me." "I did." I looked at her right in the eyes. "So I was wrong." Emily leaned forward slightly, resting her elbows on the table. "About what?" "About all of it. About me not being enough. About you not being real. About this never working." She was quiet for a moment, then she said, "You weren't wrong, you were scared." I nodded. Still am sometimes. She reached across the table and took my hand. "So am I. But it's a good kind of scared." I squeezed her hand. "I can live with that, you know." We finished our food, tossed the wrappers, and walked out into the evening light together. No drama, no final twist, just her hand in mine, just us. We didn't move in together right away, no ring, no dramatic scene, but every day after that felt like proof that sometimes the people you think are too good for you are just waiting for you to stop thinking that. Emily didn't want someone impressive. She just wanted someone honest. And me, I stopped trying to be anything else. The story of Tyler and Emily offers a powerful lesson: never underestimate the impact of taking a chance on yourself. Tyler, a laptop repair technician, felt out of place next to Emily, a poised lawyer who seemed worlds apart. His self-doubt whispered that he wasn't enough yet. A spontaneous, half-joking comment sparked a connection that changed everything. Emily's response, "Try me," wasn't just a challenge. It was an invitation to step past fear and embrace possibility. This teaches us that life's most meaningful moments often hide behind our insecurities. We may feel unworthy or outclassed, but real relationships don't demand perfection. They thrive on honesty and courage. Tyler's hesitation, his fear of being too small for Emily, is a universal struggle. Yet by showing up as himself, he discovered that authenticity is what builds trust and love. Emily, too, revealed her own vulnerabilities, proving that even those who seem untouchable crave genuine connection. Their story reminds us to silence the voice that says, "They'd never choose me," and instead take that leap, because the people who matter will meet you where you are. So dare to speak, try to be seen. It might just lead you to something real. What's a time you overcame self-doubt to seize a moment? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to read it. If this story moved you, please subscribe and join our community for more inspiring tales of courage and connection. Let's keep these conversations going.